So when you first set up your system, you're going to want to set your backup preferences so that anything that you do transaction-wise is going to be backed up right away from the get-go. So on your menu bar, on your toolbar, you're going to hit File and Backup Preferences. Once in here, we've got 3 tabs, so let's start with our Scheduler tab. So for our automatic backups, obviously we don't want never because we want to actually have backups. So typically we'd want to set that as every day. Once we have selected every day, we can then set a certain time that it occurs. And again, you would probably want to do this at the end of the day, so let's just set that for 11 o'clock for now. So that means every day at 11 o'clock, the system will automatically back up. Now let's go to the second tab, Configuration. The Configuration tab is what you want to back up. So the first box, data file, this is definitely something we want to back up. Your data file is all of your data, so everything that's captured in from customers to your journals to invoices, transactions, everything. So we want to definitely select that. Then it is also recommended to select the structure file and the user structure file. We can also attach any other files or folders that we want to also be backed up every day as well. So for this example, we could add our picture IDs because we're going to have a lot of picture IDs put in the system and we would want to back those up. So going down to Add Folder or Add File, we can locate where our picture IDs are and we can open and we will see that that is now attached into backing up on our attachments as well. Coming down, we have Backup File Destination folder. So it's very important to make sure you back up to a secondary drive because if your primary drive fails for any reason, the backup file can actually be restored from the secondary drive. So to select where that is, we can go to the button right here and we can find where we want to save our backup files to. Our log management. So we definitely want to select Use Log File. The log file is like an incremental backup throughout the day from when you from when the last backup was done. So, for example, if the backup was done at 11 o'clock the night before, any transaction that now happens throughout the day isn't going to be backed up again until 11 o'clock again that night. And for some reason, if something gets corrupted during that day, 4D can use this last backup in case that happens. And then you aren't going to lose any data. So we definitely want to check that and find a place to back up those log files to as well. So we have that selected right here. We're then going to go to the last backup and store a tab. So here we've got many options that we can choose from. So keep only the last 5 backup files. It's pretty recommended to keep at least 10 to 15. So that means it will roll over to 1 again once those 15 backup files have been backed up and saved. This clears up space for you. You don't want to continually backing up on top of that. Then we have backup only if the data file has been modified. We can check here. Delete oldest backup file. You probably want to select, or it's recommended to select after backup, because then we know we have the latest one already backed up and on file. If backup fails, retry at next scheduled date and time, or we can retry after a certain amount of time. I would recommend that you do that after a certain amount of time rather than waiting because you never know what can happen between that time that you last backed up and when the new one is scheduled for. So we could set that at, for example, let's retry after 60 minutes. Cancel the operation after a certain amount of attempts. Let's put that in because if it does actually keep retrying and retrying, we want to actually cancel that up to a maximum of about 3 attempts because it's probably the data drive is full or something and it will warn you next time that the backup has failed. Coming down to your archive options. So the segment size. We can select that as none if you're not worried about how big your backup is going to be, or we can limit the size on that depending on where you're saving it to and if you have limitations on the size. So if we do set a limit, let's say we set it at 650, it will then split the file into 2, so it won't exceed the 650 megabytes. Compression rate, again, we can either have that set as none, we can put it to fast or compact. It's totally up to you depending on size and on speed of your backup. and then we're just going to leave interlacing rate and redundancy rate as none. If we check the restore last backup if database is damaged, 4D will automatically go back and just restore the last backup that occurred, or if we leave that unchecked, it won't restore from the last backup, and it is probably recommended that you need to contact Clearview Systems for support just to see why that it's damaged and where they can help. We can check the integrate last log if database is incomplete so that it pulls the last log that was actually saved, and then it can make that database complete. So once we've done all of these adjustments, we can now select OK, and the system is going to want to back up now. So let's say yes, OK.